And there are two things that strike one immediately. First, that it seems very shallow, and it doesn't seem very wide. But then as you begin to think about it, it's really a fairly good-sized orchestra pit, is it not?
Yes, it is. And it's a building, an orchestra pit you never see in the whole world. It's a form here which only is in Bayreuth. Yeah. It is very big, 138 square meters. And that's very, very big for an orchestra pit in an opera house.
To multiply it into feet, we multiply by about 3.
That means 500 square feet. Only 25% of the orchestra pit is open, and the rest is covered.
That's why I think the one's first impression is that it's small, because it's all closed in except for just one opening, which we'll talk about as we go along.
The highest point from the highest level where are sitting the violins, the first and second violins, to the deepest point in the orchestra where are sitting the trombones and tubas is 2.50 meters, and the distance from the conductor to the last row of brass instruments is nearly about 6 meters. And the brass players have to look up to see the conductor, because they are sitting 2.50 meters, or that means 7.5 feet down of the conductor.
When we think of an orchestra on risers, and in the normal concert situation, if the orchestra is not flat on the stage, the conductor is at the lowest level, and then as the musicians get farther away from the conductor, they rise. It's exactly the opposite here, of course. The conductor is at the top level.
And the first level are sitting the first and second violins. Here is another curious thing. The first violins in Bayreuth are sitting on the right side. It's their own place in the world where the first violin are sitting on the right side of the conductor. And the second violins are sitting on the left side. The reason is the cover, which is over the pit. The first and second violins are sitting directly under the cover. If a violinist is sitting left of the conductor, he plays first to the cover, yes. And the tone will be reflected on the cover to the ground of his level, and will be reflected out of the open section of the orchestra pit. The tone of the first violins goes directly out of the orchestra pit. That's the reason, because the first violins are mostly the melody instrument in an orchestra.
I notice a drawing from 1882 which shows the orchestra in place, and the players in 1983 are in the same place they were since that drawing was made. And the conductor's level, and his podium is a bit higher than the players, but we have the violins, as we mentioned, either side, and they're sitting alongside in twos, as they would in a symphony orchestra.
Yeah. The next level are sitting the violas. On the third level are sitting the double basses on both sides. That's also very new for an opera orchestra. On the next level are sitting the violoncellists, and behind the violoncello, the first row of the woodwinds, oboe and flute. Behind, 1 feet deeper, clarinet and bassoon, and also 1 feet deeper, the horn players and the trumpet players, and also 1 feet deeper, the trombones and timpani and percussion. I have forgotten the harps. They are sitting also on both sides of the orchestra pit. 3 harps on the left side, 3 harps on the right side, on the same place like the double basses.
I noticed, too, that we were mentioning the level of the violas. They, too, are divided left and right. Each of these levels down is roughly 1 foot or so. How wide is the pit again from left to right, roughly at its longest point?
45 feet.
Let's go up to the place from which the sound comes as far as the audience is concerned. We are now alongside the conductor's podium, and we look directly above us, above his head. As Martin said, the hood comes over. The audience cannot see him or the light, which is beating down on his podium. And then there was a space of how much, Martin, from the edge of that hood to the front of the stage?
7.5 feet.
And through an only 7.5-foot space, which, of course, runs the whole length of the stage, and the stage is curved, as is the orchestra pit, yeah. All of the sound comes out into the auditorium.
The listener of the audience always hear reflected sound from the instruments. And the artist is the own instrument which the listener of the audience hear direct.
We're now entering the lighting booth.